How do you convince somebody that an annuity is safe after they've watched their eggs disappear from their nest egg?
Well, the first thing is that's why you point out, because the reason, anytime you put money at risk, anytime, and I always go back to 2008, because if I have my baskets and there's 6 eggs in there, I would just grab 3 eggs and throw them over my shoulder. I personally believe, having looked at all the situations, love to tell this story. Babe Ruth, dysfunctional kid, he went to a reform school. His best friend at the reform school went into insurance-based retirement planning. He went into baseball. Sat down with Babe, 1927, 1928. Babe, you got a lot of money here. How about we put it into some annuities? Smartest move Babe Ruth could have ever done was to do that, because that money, that decision, kept his wife in the same building as John Lennon, off of the big park that they have in New York, till death do her part. I mean, it was a good move. The other thing I point out is the guy that steered us through the economic collapse of 2008. His name was Bernanke, head of the Fed. Okay? He was a professor of economics, Nobel Prize-winning professor of economics. Ben Bernanke was hired to steer us out, and he studied what happened in 1929 when we had the collapse. And the biggest problem was the banking industry collapsed as well. We didn't know how to get out of that, and it took us 10 years to do it. Luckily, that man steered us through. That man was a professor at Princeton, went down, and he got, just like you folks that worked at companies, you got a choice of, you could put it in managed money, you can put it here, you can put it there. Lots of different names I'm not allowed to say. But he said he picked 2 annuities, 2 large annuities. The guy who steered us through the collapse of the markets in 2007 and 2008 had his own personal money in annuity contracts. He did not take a hit. He did not have to wait 5 years to recover. And I'm glad he did it, because I can tell the story. I love a good story.
Do you have any kind of illustrations that tell a real simple story as if you had done this, option B instead of A?
Well, the best one is I gave you option A. Okay, so what would happen? And if you understand how those illustrations, and you log into my class, in the illustration I gave you is the worst case scenario, and it's actually written in there. What's the worst thing that's going to happen if your indices goes down? 0. You will get no growth. The worst case scenario is you're going to get no growth. I've had this past year, people call me up, and some of them are a little upset. Oh my goodness, I didn't get any growth this year. And I go, well, congratulations. Had we left it where, one guy, John down in Titusville, it was $150,000. $50,000 went to his son to buy a pickup truck. He moved 100, and had he left it where it was at, he would have had 80. And as it turned out, I bonused it, and he ended up with $114,000. I said, hey, John, good news. Wasn't it a smart move? You're $36,000 better than had you done nothing. And he was on the phone to talk to me about it going to 0. And I said, 0's your hero, dude. I did you a favor.